So, AJ and I are going to be speaking now about something that I have been using for a number of years, actually, as a real estate agent. And I have had a number of, I guess, other people in the industry come to me and try and sway me to what I refer to now as the dark side. AJ, come up. Welcome, AJ, Shad, everyone.
Can I introduce him?
Yeah, go. It's Pete and Friends, remember?
Yeah, pretty much. AJ is my fellow board member on the PropTech Association of Australia. Give him a big round of applause. And as much as I thought I knew AJ, he told me today he lives in Sydney. I always thought he lived in Adelaide, and a lot of that makes sense. He looks like Sydney, don't you? Yeah, very much. One of the amazing photos I have of AJ, and I won't put it on the screen, is unbridled joy when we went out to a restaurant in Adelaide, and I bought AJ a whole plate of meat thinking that was what he ate. I found out his house was vegetarian. But I do have that photo. I was going to put it on the screen. I'm not going to do that today. Above anything, AJ is just an all-round good guy and human being, and he is the guy, the head honcho for Reso. So please give him a round of applause. Not to be outdone, we've got Emily Morgan back, so give her a round of applause too.
Sorry about that, guys.
Thank you, Pete.
You're most welcome.
So today, I'm not going to sit down, is that okay? Sorry.
I've
got about 7 different reasons why I use Reso as a real estate agent. And for me, number 1 has actually been the compliance component. I'll move to the left of the screens because Rachel's going to follow my chit-chats here. So compliance is 101 for me, and with Reso I actually have an action by action timestamp of when every single thing took place throughout my entire campaign. So if I'm ever asked or questioned by Office of Fair Trading or wherever you are in the country, whoever's your governing authority, I have it right here. It's in black and white, it sits in the back end, and it cannot be questioned. In terms of compliance, one of the things that I really like is if I have documentation in particular that needs to be acknowledged, I can have that done through Reso as well, and I can actually stop any buyer from making any offer until they have acknowledged certain documentation. So for me, that makes me feel really safe as a real estate agent because I know that I'm disclosing the right information, getting there, yes, I've seen this, yes, I approve it, and then yes, I still would like to make an offer. Okay, so the compliance for me is absolute. I also want to say that whilst Reso is I guess I'll say pay to play, I actually just put it into my VPA per property. I will say though, and do listen to this, that often Reso is free for me. So not every single campaign, we can all sit in this room and pretend that every single campaign that we do is amazing, it has all these buyers and all these offers, but we'd be lying. So any campaign that I do, if I do have just one buyer and I'm not going to get that competitive offer scenario, I won't actually pay to use this wonderful platform. The cool thing, the second reason that I do use this platform is I use it as my communication tool for all of my buyers and for my seller. Now what I mean by that is I have a few thousand, Rachel, you'll correct me soon, I'm sure. I have a few thousand SMSs that I get to send. I've never actually hit that mark, by the way. I've never actually had Reso tell me, oh, you're out of credits. So I guess I just haven't hit it, albeit that I've sent out multiple communications. So I will always communicate through this platform. If I'm setting it open for inspection and AJ is coming to the door, I let AJ know once I've got his name and his mobile that your phone's going to ping in a minute. Oh, there you go, there it is. That is the link for the sale of this property, inviting you into the sale, AJ. Go and have a look at the property, come back and have a chat on your way out. If you've got any questions, let's talk about that. But every single thing you need to know about this property is in that link. All the way through to making an offer that the seller can see at the same time as myself. Now, when you talk to buyers like that in terms of transparency, they actually tend to believe you. Almost every one of you in the room will be able to sit there and put your hand up and say, how many times have we told a buyer that we have another offer coming or a better offer than theirs, and they've gone, yeah, okay, mate. And they don't have to believe it because they can't see it. Often some buyers will ask you, well, can I see it? Got to be very, very careful there. Through this, they know that there is going to be another offer. My communication will tell them if there's going to be a deadline. As soon as I get an offer, I will let people know we've had an offer that the owners would like to consider. You now have until this day, this time, to submit your offers. Before I can even get on the phone to start calling back through that list of people, they're calling me. So the communication. Now, the communication with the vendor is something I also wanted to touch on because I no longer do vendor reports. I don't have to, because this encapsulates most of my seller reports. I can edit them, I can change them, do whatever I like, and it's just click of a couple of buttons. I no longer do it through my CRM system. So that's the communication piece with both the buyer and the seller, and the compliance. The documentation I have touched on, but note that you can actually upload all and any documentation that you need. I haven't come to a point, and AJ, please correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't come to a point where it's not accepted something unless it's an incorrect file. So I can have, and I actually recently did one that was a farm, and it was earning money, so we had to go through all the necessary documentation and so on and so forth. I was able to actually give people that information, but I didn't have to block anyone from seeing it, because the only people that are actually going to go and create their account and give themselves a login and a password and put in all the details that they need to put in are the people that are interested. Every single piece of documentation that you look at as a buyer, I know you've looked at it. I know when you've looked at it, I know how many times you've looked at it. And that actually tells me a lot before I even get on the phone to speak to you. If you've looked at a disclosure document or a contract to sale 4 different times, guess what? You're probably interested. So that's compliance, communication, and documentation. Now, this is an offers platform, really. Ultimately, that's what it's for. I just use it the way it suits my business, and you can too. Much like a CRM system, I probably use about 10-20% of my CRM's capability, because the rest of it just doesn't work for me. We talked about, who talked about shiny tools before? I think it was Lee Martinuzzi. He talked about, just be wary of the fact that all these shiny things are going to take you away from doing the things you need to do in real estate. So I sent out the communication. I know I'm going to get multiple offers. I've let all the buyers know. The offers are now coming in. And this is where it starts to get really exciting, because the seller can see this happening at the same time. The ranking scenario is probably one of my favourite pieces of the entire platform, because what I will see as an agent is almost as if it was almost like an auction, but behind closed doors. So buyer number 3 does not know what buyer number 1 has offered. They don't know the conditions. They don't know settlement terms or anything else. That really works for me.
But they can see their number 3.
Sorry?
But they can see their number 3 and they're not up.
Right, so if I rank the buyers, you were buyer number 1, AJ's gone in and he's put in another offer because I've ranked it and it's let you know hey, you're now buyer number 3. And you and hubby are sitting at home going, hey, hold on, I don't think so. Have you ever been on one of those where you're bidding online for something, you go, I'm only spending $20 on this, and we end up spending double that? So I will often watch the buyers fight each other for the property before I go in and what I refer to as tip them upside down for change when I'm talking to the seller. Okay? And what I have seen from that, and Rachel's going through it on the screen, is I've seen the difference in $100,000 or more before I even went in to start negotiating. Now, if I fast forward to using this as a prospecting or a listing tool, and I'm sitting in your living room right now, and I'm talking to you about how I operate, the level of transparency, the level of trust that I can gain from the buyers. Not only that, but every property that you sell, every buyer that you meet, every inquiry that you have, it's so easy for them to go into this platform. It's on my phone. I don't open my laptop to do it. So if Jason over here inquires or SMSs or calls me, I've got Jason's mobile, it's going directly into Reso. When I sit in front of you as a seller, I can hand on my heart say, I can't miss anyone. They all go into here. They are all communicated with. Even if you haven't accepted coming into the sale of that property, when I go into offers and deadlines, you're still going to know about it, because I am not going to sell AJ's house and then have Michelle come to me and say, oh, I would have paid $100,000 more. How many times have we heard that? They say I would have paid more, but actually this prevents that. Oh, because you had every opportunity to pay more and you made a decision not to, so actually you wouldn't have, because otherwise you would have. So that's one of the cool things about this as well. Now, when I'm sitting in front of you, I may have sold something similar. Might be another 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, double garage property. Only one person can actually purchase that property though. Thus, I have another 50, 60 people that are in the market right now still looking. And what I have the ability to do, because this all links to everything else, is I can get the buyers from 2 Smith Street that have all missed out on that property. I can start your sale right now, and I can invite all of those buyers. How does that sound? And so, instead of telling you, I've got buyers. How many times have we heard that from the other real estate agent? Oh, I've got buyers, I've got it done. No, you don't, because I've been working with lots of amazing people and walked out of their appraisals with them going, you told them that you had a database. Where's that database? He goes, oh, it's in my head. So it's really nowhere. So instead of telling people that I'm amazing and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, I like to show people. Show people what you can do for them. Show them how you're going to negotiate the best price. Show them how the buyer is going to be connected to this property. Show them what you've been able to achieve for someone else. And that leads me to my final point of prospecting. You can see here what Rachel's got in front of you. Sometimes I alter it, although she's going to have a session with me, I'm sure, next week or the week after, because she's going to say, hey, you're missing all these really cool features that you're not picking up on. But, you know, me, I do things my way a lot of the time. So I will almost cut what you see here, and I will put on it, if you want similar results, call me. That's real figures. They're not plucked out of thin air. And I will not put something in your letterbox saying, I'm number one. Number one of what? My office of 4 people. Number one of what? 1 suburb, because I sold 4 properties. I won't say that. Instead, I'll say, look what was achieved for someone else. I will show them. I won't tell them, I'll show them. And if they want a rundown on how that was achieved, of course, I'm more than happy to show them. So for me, Reso sometimes costs me absolutely nothing. It will never cost me really anything because the vendors pay for it. The best couple of $100 that they could ever spend, in my humble opinion. And it has amazing transparency and, as I've already said, all these wonderful different points of how I use it, which I probably missed out lots.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. The reason why I do this with Emily is it's always better to hear from a user of the product than me explaining what it is. But now I will actually explain how and why we built Reso. So, like Peter said, I'm one of the directors of the PropTech Association. I'm the CEO of Reso, and I'm also a licensed real estate agent in New South Wales, and I have been for the last 15 years. The biggest problems I tried to solve as a real estate agent, things that really annoyed me through this journey, was one, I couldn't effectively handle my buyers. There was times in every market, but especially in Sydney, where you would get 100 buyers per property coming in, making offers. Is so much demand, especially the properties that were sitting around the 750 median price. So how do I effectively handle 100 buyers? How do I get these 100 buyers? How do I get the best offer out of them? Is another one. Do I make 100 calls? And then if I make 100 calls, then everyone ups their offers. Then I'm going to make another 100 calls, then another 100 calls. And it just didn't make sense. And what I actually found was I was losing listings from these potential buyers, because these buyers were like, well, you didn't really call me back, so why should I ever come to you if I sell a house, right? So this didn't exist then, so it was very hard to track buyers, it was very hard to build the trust, and it was very hard to give everyone a fair go, including myself. I bought my first property when I was 23. It was the 5th property that I liked. The other 4, I didn't get an offer. The agent didn't call me back, simply because the agent was busy. And I later found out that the properties only sold for like $4,000 or $5,000 more than what I had offered. And I would have easily paid an extra $10,000, $20,000 for it. So that was another thing that really triggered me to start looking at how we solve this problem. So a couple of problems we want to solve. One is the buyers. How do you get them into raving fans? 2, the biggest one, I think everyone here has a problem with prospecting, right? And you have to do it as an agent, and there's no ways around it. But when I entered the real estate office, and I was with Ray White initially when I started and got licensed, I was given a whole book of buyers, and I was told to call these buyers and try and find a listing from these buyers. So what's the pitch? Call them, are you still in the market? Are you looking for a property? No. Oh, by the way, have you got something to sell? And hope you get lucky, right? That's what happens. So what actually we ended up building into Reso, as part of the buyer qualification, we actually asked that question. We asked them, have you got something to sell? So what happens in most cases, what we saw, and this is looking at Reso data, if you have 20 to 58 buyers that are registered for a property, you are going to generate at least 5 to 10 listing inquiries. And in most cases, you will list at least 1 or 2. So what happens? You put a sale up, you get the buyers through, and then you generate 1 or 2 another extra listings of that one listing. And that was the idea. So I solved that one problem for myself, which was, how do I effectively understand my buyers, understand their financial position, understand if they have something to sell. Then we moved on to going, how do we service these buyers so they felt like they've been seen and had equal opportunity to compete. Now, another point of data within Reso, each buyer in a hot market will increase their offer 3 to 5 times to get to rank 1 or try to stay rank 2 or 3. By the way, you don't have to take rank 1 offer all the time. You could have rank 2 or 3. That is an all cash offer. You might want to take that. So we don't dictate that. You know, you take the first offer. Usually it is a good one.
That's for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that built in. And then again, I've been a seller as well. And being a seller is always daunting. It's always like, what's happening? You want to call your agent, and you want to call them all the time, and the agent's too busy, and vendors calling, going, what happened to the open? What happened here? How many buyers have we got? What's the issues? And what we've solved with that was the seller report. So we said, okay, we will just automate that for the agent. We will just send this whole buyers, how many registered buyers, all of that straight through to the vendor. So actually one other observation we made with Reso recently is the gamification effect of technology. And when we build technology, we try to achieve this, but this is one of the things that happens. The buyer's refreshing the screen, the vendor's refreshing the screen, the agent's refreshing the screen. And we can see that happening, right? So that is, the gamification effect of it is super cool because all three of these cohorts are getting together. Now, and then we went one step further because a lot of agents were like, well, okay, you solved all these issues for me. How do we get this deal to close? So now we integrated with all of the forms so that you can push straight through. So forms get pre-populated, signed, finalized, you're ready to go. So we have Forms Live integrated and all of that. And again, what we also do is we integrate with all major CRMs. So it will pull all the buyer information from the CRM into Reso, and in the future it'll have the capability to push all the information from Reso into your CRM. So again, with Reso, our core is solving problems for agents, and just because we understand it. Rachel is an ex-agent, I've been an agent, and the whole idea is to solve these really nagging problems that real estate agents have. So thank you, Emily, for taking everyone through it. Pete, I think that's about time. Thank you.
I have some questions. Does anyone else have some questions for AJ before I throw some hard ones at him? Or at least one. Come on.
Oh, got one over here.
Thank you. You're going to need that.
Sorry, I gave the microphone away.
Why would I use Reso as opposed to the likes of Realtair or something like that? What does Reso do for me that they don't?
Well, I think our unique algorithms are within the ranking, which is ranking the buyers. If we go feature by feature, I could go feature by feature as to how we're different. All of the platforms have different features. With Realtair, you're obviously dealing with the REA backend as well, but I think it's a very unique challenge in technology to fix problems that actually add value. And I think Reso and all of Reso team, even including our development team, we understand the problem because we've been there and we're trying to fix it. But if you start looking at competitive products, yes, they're very similar products out there. However, I'd always say we're the best, but that's because we've built it from the logic that we have.
Ask me that question.
Okay, so why would I use Reso?
Yeah, because he can't answer this in the way that it should be answered. Who enjoys paying money to realestate.com.au?
Don't put your hands up.
Russell is the only person up the front, at the back, sorry, at the other front, at the back. I don't enjoy that, and the more of those details that you hand over. The other thing I would encourage you to do is to check the terms and conditions of the Realtair contract. I think you'll find they differ greatly from Reso.
The one thing I would suggest is, because we build technology, we build it for agents, and because we are agents to heart, we do not resell any buyer data or any information. We store it in a safe, like making sure that no one gets access to it, and only person that benefits from it is the person who's imported it, which is the agent. That changes fundamentally when data is seen as currency in the bigger organizations. So that's one thing that that's an ethical bound that I'll never cross.
For me, just before you go on to the next question, I have looked at, I think it's Cell that they have in place of, like I said, they've tried to take it to the dark side a number of times. I don't think Cell has, for me, it's just me, the way I run my business, doesn't even come close to Reso. If they looked at purchasing Reso, I probably still would do it because it's still owned by REA.
I mean, I looked at Realtair before REA, and what I liked about it was the digital introduction that they provide, or that you can send a client prior to going for your appraisal, and then the proposal that you can do for them, which then follows through to the Form 6, which then follows through now to the the cell part, which
How do
they
you,
didn't have
you said that
previously.
you looked better and liked it then. Do you feel the same about it now?
Well, I signed up a week before they announced that REA took over. I went, oh shit. So I wasn't happy, but I liked the product. So what do I do in lieu of that? Because the other options that we have don't provide that.
Yeah, I think that there's other things out there that absolutely can be in place. Is it all going to be in one spot? Possibly not, but we can drag it into one spot.
So with Realtech, obviously you've got the proposal software. So they started as a proposal software. That's what they started, and they tagged on sale and all of that. Reso started as key problem to solve is the buyer vendor offers EO, expression of interest problem. So we're obviously more advanced in that, and they're more advanced in the proposal space. However, we're starting to learn from our data, and what we will be releasing in the future will be significantly advanced proposal software that backs it up with the Reso data. So that will come out, but again, I guess we all focused on different things.
Just quickly, AJ, does this go right through to the sign and pre-populate and then go through a DocuSign or a
Yes, so it goes through Forms Live, and then you can do signatures, and all that is digital. So once you've got the offers, the person who gets the offer, he gets straight to Forms, and then you get signed off. Depending on which state, every state is different. So,
Just on compliance, is everyone in here a real estate agent in Queensland or registered agent? Yeah. When you're talking about these things, don't refer to them as offers. Big point. These are expressions of interests. An offer is a signed contract. So as they come through, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't signed them at a contract as yet. So they should all be expressions of interest up until the point that a contract is signed. Are you aware of that? It's a big point with terminology. Don't get into trouble with if you get a savvy buyer out there.
One of the things that I actually love about Reso is that state by state, because I've used it in another state as well, being Victoria, state by state they've actually got all the templates in the back end for you. So you almost can't mess that up unless you choose to write it yourself.
And on that, we have run out of time. Big round of applause to AJ Cand and Emily Morgan. Thank you very much. And hiding on the screen, Rachel. Thank you very much, Rachel, for being here. If you can see her, she's right up the top here. That is a real person. It's not a AI.
She's not Hey Jim.
Yep. We are going to go to a lunch break, and it's about a 40-minute lunch.